If you feel stuck in a low vibration, here are 2 steps that you can take to break free from it and free yourself from that feeling and take that vibe and raise it up. My name is Dr. Jake Kavanaugh of thevibemindset.com. Let's get into it. So, one of the most important things is to, 1, have self-awareness. How do you have self-awareness? What I do is 3 times a day, I do what I call like a vibe assessment. And I do it with my meals to make it simple. I do a morning, a midday, and an evening vibe assessment. And I say, what is my current vibe? Where am I vibrating at? Am I feeling guilt, shame, and embarrassment? Am I feeling anger? Am I feeling courage? Am I feeling joy? What am I feeling? And what I always do is I do a reflection on that and say, why am I feeling that way? Now, if it's joy that I'm feeling, I remind myself or reflect first of all on what is the joy I'm feeling and where did it come from? And then I remind myself to either write it down or think of a way that I can repurpose it, reuse it, revisit the thoughts that got me to that feeling. Because don't forget, your thoughts create your vibe and your energy and your emotional response, and therefore your actions. But when we go back to that vibe, right? It's usually the narrative, the thoughts that you're having, the perspective you have on things, the reactions that you have to outside circumstance. So I always like to say, hey, if I'm feeling joy, what was it? For example, yesterday, I had interactions with 2 groups of people I haven't talked to in a while. That really fired me up. And I said to myself, if I want to feel joy again, I need the feeling of connection. I need to have conversations with people. So now what I'm doing today is I'm setting myself up for success by saying, hey, this worked yesterday where I had that higher vibe of joy from having that human interaction. So therefore, I'm going to set an intention for who I'm going to interact with today. So that's step 1 is the awareness of your vibe. Think about the 3 times a day, morning, midday, evening. What's my vibe? What causes it? Now, let's say you have a lower vibe, guilt, shame, embarrassment, whatever it is. Oftentimes when you're stuck in a lower vibe, it's almost like a hamster wheel, right? You seem like, that's why we say you're stuck, right? You feel like you can't break free from it. So usually what I feel is the cause of it is rumination. It's replaying a certain thought in your mind and then having that same feeling come up. You know, if you think about something you said to someone, for example, that you probably shouldn't have said and you're beating yourself up for it, right? Then you start to have that lower vibe. And then when you feel like you're in that lower vibe of guilt, shame, humiliation, embarrassment, now all of a sudden what happens? You keep rethinking about it because there's pain and your body and mind kind of focus on that pain and be like, oh, what's going on? What do we got here? What can we do? But then what we do is usually just replay the event. Oh, geez, I wish I didn't say that. Oh, geez, I shouldn't have done it. Oh, God, I wish it went a different way. Okay, but you keep talking about the thing that happened, but you're not really coming up with a solution. Here is the solution. First of all, come up with what the learning lesson is from it, and then let go. So it's like an L and an L. It's the learning lesson, and then it's letting go. So just think about that 2-part piece to breaking free from that vibration. And then what you do is you say, hey, what would be something that is a higher vibe that I can feel? Now, you don't always have to go from guilt, shame, and embarrassment to joy because that's very difficult. But even if you, believe it or not, if you're in the guilt, shame level, if you know the levels of consciousness, even just anger is considered better. You'd be like, wait a minute, you're telling us to get angry? Anger is actually a higher vibe emotion than is guilt, shame, embarrassment, right? So if we raise up that little bit and we get angry, like, oh, geez, I shouldn't have done that. But you know what? I'm never going to let that happen again. All right, good. Then the anger served us because it's better than being in that ruminating thought and feeling of the lower vibe. Now we get into anger, then we let go. Next thing. At that point, what you want to do is say, I know that where I shift my attention and focus enlarges, it magnifies. So where can I now that I've raised up a little bit, I've let go, I've learned what caused me to feel the way I'm feeling. Now I'm shifting my focus and energy and attention to something different to raise my vibe. What would that thing be? Now, oftentimes I personally like to have a set of 3 things that I can refer to as a quick fix for shifting my vibe. One of them, walks in nature. Second, music. If I play 80s music, it just makes me feel good. Okay. And then the third thing is I have a group of 3 to 5 friends that I can contact, text, and I just always enjoy interacting with them. So those are my 3 go-to things when I say, hey, I want to shift my vibe. If I want to get unstuck from feeling that low vibration, I've got a plan. When you have a strategy, you have a plan, what happens is you just recognize the triggers. You have that self-awareness, and then all of a sudden you say, okay, I know what to do next. It's almost like if a fireman has the fire alarm goes off, they know, okay, first thing we do, how many guys are going on the call? Next, it's step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4, boom. And if you don't have those steps and those strategies in place, don't beat yourself up, because think about it. You're just on autopilot at that point. And if you don't have those strategies, which you now do, that's probably why you're feeling a little bit stuck. So now you're going to feel unstuck because you're going to apply these strategies in your life to raise your vibe when you're feeling kind of stuck in that lower vibe. So my name is Dr. Jake Kavanaugh. Once again, we've got some great resources for you in the description below. I highly recommend you check them out. We've got some really, really good stuff to help you raise your vibe and manage your emotions better. So if you have any questions, let me know, and would love to hear your thoughts below. And also, we've got 2 other videos here if you want to check them out. As always, thank you so much.